Cervical cancer. More than 500,000 women are diagnosed with cervical cancer worldwide each year, and more than 275,000 die from the disease. In the U.S. alone, more than 12,000 women are diagnosed, and more than 4,000 die each year. That's the bad news. The good news is you can prevent cervical cancer. The main cause of cervical cancer is HPV, the human papillomavirus. HPV is a type of virus that is passed on through sexual contact. HPV is very common. Most people who are sexually active, about 70%, will get HPV at some point, and most of them will never know it. That's because HPV will usually go away on its own. Sometimes, though, HPV doesn't go away, and it can cause changes in the cells of a woman's cervix. If these changes aren't found and treated, they can lead to cervical cancer. So how can you prevent cervical cancer? Lots of ways. First, remember that HPV is spread through sexual contact. So abstinence, meaning not having any kind of sexual contact with anyone else, is one way to prevent infection. If you do have sex, condoms can help reduce your risk of getting HPV. But since HPV is spread from skin-to-skin contact, condoms can't protect you completely from HPV. If you are 26 years old or younger, you can get vaccinated against HPV. There are 2 vaccines available for girls and young women between 9 and 26 that protect against the 2 main types of HPV that can lead to cervical cancer. Each vaccine is given in a series of 3 shots over a 6-month period. It's important to get all 3 shots to make sure you are fully protected. Another way to protect yourself from cervical cancer is to have a Pap test regularly. During a Pap test, a healthcare provider takes a sample of cells from a woman's cervix using a small brush or swab. These cells are then checked at a lab for any abnormal cell changes. If these cell changes are caught early, they can be treated before they turn into cancer. This is why getting regular Pap tests is so important. If you're 30 or older, you can also get the HPV test along with your Pap. The HPV test checks specifically for the HPV types found in most cervical cancers. For women 30 and over, both the Pap and HPV tests are important tools in preventing cervical cancer. So let's review. First off, HPV is spread through sexual contact, so abstinence is the one sure way to protect against HPV. If you are sexually active, use condoms every time you have sex. This can help reduce the risk of getting HPV, not to mention other sexually transmitted infections. If you are in the right age range, get vaccinated against HPV. HPV vaccines are safe and highly effective. Just remember to get all 3 shots to make sure you are fully protected. Get a Pap test regularly as recommended by your provider. And if you're 30 or older, get an HPV test at the same time as your Pap. There are some things in life you can't prevent, but cervical cancer isn't one of them. To learn more about how you can prevent cervical cancer, visit the American Social Health Association at www.ashastd.org.